Morning, Nick. Welcome home, sort of.
Thanks, Doug. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I guess first, who are you going to start tomorrow night?
I'm still thinking about that, Doug, but
All right.
I will let you know as soon as possible. Okay.
We'll have tomorrow morning and tomorrow night.
Okay.
Um, uh, the league has come down with some harsh new protocols that affect where players can go and what they can do, and also what can go on around the bench. What do you think of the in-game ones with the no touching? Coaches got to wear their mask all the time. Players have to put masks on when they come out of the game. Well, do you think that'll have an impact?
Well, I think they're hoping does, Doug. I think there's, obviously rise for concern, more cases, more contact tracing, obviously a handful of postponements. And they're just trying to step it up a level and do anything they can to keep the games going. I think we all are okay, doing them, or at least trying to do them the best of our ability. It isn't always easy. Sometimes I'm in the huddle or on the floor and I'm doing all kinds of things to try to keep my mask on, but let guys hear me. And after the third time they say, Coach, I can't hear what you're saying. It's, every now and then you got to try to pull it down quick, but I got to try to limit that the best I can. And sometimes in the heat of the battle, it's difficult, but saying that we got to do a little better job. I got to do a better job, and we'll try to do as best I can.
Yeah, it's got to be very difficult and frustrating to remember all those things in the heat of a game. Stanley Johnson, I think, basically went a year when he didn't play. And I can't imagine he fit prominently in your plans at the start of training camp. Yet here he is playing a significant bench role. What's it sort of say about him as a guy that he was able to? It's got to be hard to sit for an entire season basically and not play, and then be ready to play for the same team.
Well, I think a couple things, Doug. I think one is I give him credit for a couple things. One is he's never wavered on the coaching. He's always kind of believed in what we were doing and felt good about that. He's always, thought we were trying to tell him to do the right things individually and team-wise. And he's always worked hard. He's always been able to summons up the energy to continue to work hard, each day. He does have a lot of energy. And he works at it daily. So for him to hang in there and play solidly, like I think that's all. Again, I'm really asking is to him to go out and play hard and play solid, and then anything else he gives us as far as scoring or knocking in a shot or whatever is kind of gravy. But we do need to have him make some hustle plays. We do need to, need a bigger body to guard some of the bigger wings or the stronger fours or whatever. And he may even slide into some backup five here at some point if we can. And he really enables us to switch or play behind it and re-switch the matchup so he can end up on the big if there's a small on him, and we can kind of switch those late, if you know what I mean. So he gives us some strength down there, but just been solid. I just hope he could grow that role a little bit minutes wise if he stays solid. And I think it's been very useful for us in these last few games.
Great. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate it as always.
He might be starting soon, Doug. Just
you can probably start 9 guys. That'll be all right.
All right. Next question. Thanks, Doug.
Next question goes to Michael Grange from Sportsnet.
Hey, Nick.
Hey, Michael.
A little bit, I'll pick up on Stanley there a little bit. I mean, he was a lottery pick, and by the time you get him, he's bounced around. I think you guys are his third team, if not his fourth. Is there a process for a guy like that to kind of make that transition to go, okay, my path to the floor is to be a role player in very specific duties? I'm sure coming in as the 8th pick overall, he kind of said, well, I've been beasting my whole life. I presume it'll continue. Or was that already behind him, or has that been part of the process here, just kind of guiding him to showing him a path to playing?
Yeah, I mean, I think Michael is at the point now, I think the minute he just wants to play, right? I think he just wants to get out on the court. I mean, like you cannot, show anybody your value if you're not getting any minutes. And I think again, I mean, he does have talent, Michael, and I think, you know, he's got some strength, he's got good feet, he does play hard. You know, those are skills, you know, at an NBA level. And I think just getting on the floor is what's most important for him. And, you know, being a, you know, I think if he stay in this role and again, like expand it just a bit, I don't mean doing more, I'm just more minutes, playing solidly for longer. That's going to give him, you know, again, a chance to enjoy his season for sure a lot more and make some steps forward to kind of well, I don't know, but just, you know, finding a spot in this league, a consistent spot.
Thanks. And on the protocols and things like that,
Yep.
when you see cancellations kind of or postponements mounting up, and when you see you know, games that are being played that clearly aren't a typical NBA standard based on the number of personnel available, does it almost kind of relax you for the regular season in a way, like knowing that you know, there's a whole bunch of curveballs out there, and more than any other year, maybe you just kind of make sure you're healthy and ready at the end versus really clocking game by game and who's beating who and that kind of stuff?
Well, I think Michael, that in general, I think it's a good practice to try to really focus in on your own situation, right? And I think maybe this even puts that even more clearly. Like, you know, you kind of come into a day like today, and what are you doing? Well, you're trying to polish some things we're doing well. We're trying to get rid of some things we're not doing well. We're trying to put in a good day's work, get a game plan in for the next game, you know, and really focus in on, I know it sounds very, very trite, but you kind of just each day to get your own situation better. There's lots going on. Usually it's lots going on in other areas. Now there's lots going on, all kind of based on COVID and protocols and things like that, again, do your best, stay as safe as you can, you know, and try to, you know, keep as many guys healthy as possible and just keep plugging away. You know, I think that's what we're doing, you know, and I think we're doing a decent job. I know I've said this before, and it's kind of the theme. We're playing some really, really good basketball. Not much to show for it, but you know, you got to believe we're heading in the right direction. It sure feels like we are. And again, the ball starts bouncing our way a little bit, and we could click off some wins and get back in the hunt of thinking about playing in the pro season at some point.
Appreciate it, Nick. Have a great day.
Yep. You too, Michael.
Next we go to Josh Lewenberg from TSN.
Hello, Nick. How you doing?
Good, Josh. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. So following up on the starters, I won't do that to you. Obviously, a lot of positives coming from that trip. You sort of just alluded to it, even though the results and the record doesn't necessarily reflect that. Is there a challenge in emphasizing the process and those positives and getting players to focus on that and the fact that you guys are headed in the right direction when the results don't necessarily support that?
Well, I think, you know, there is an old saying that you treat the imposters, you know, the same, winning and losing. You try to, and human nature doesn't let you do that very, very well, right? There's obviously disappointment, and there should be, you know, determination, maybe a bit more after following a loss, and try not to let yourself get too happy after a win, right? And take your foot out the pedal. But I think, again, I just say we've got no other choice but to evaluate the game, you know, make the adjustments, fix things, keep working on rotations and all those kind of things. I think we're playing very hard, but maybe we need another little bit, you know, another little bit of hustle plays and extra effort. Maybe that's what gets us over the hump. So you just kind of focus on all those areas, and that's what we're trying to do.
Great. Thanks, Nick. Enjoy the rest of the day.
You too, Josh.
Gonna do two more quick ones for you, Coach. First one goes to Eduardo Encina from the Tampa Bay Times.
Hi, Nick. How are you doing? Good to see you.
Good. Hi, Eduardo.
Hey, with the, I know you guys have gotten used to playing in a lot of empty arenas, but obviously with, with now no fans at your quote unquote home games in Tampa, I mean, will that matter? I mean, obviously I know it was just a few thousand fans, but will that matter to you guys?
Well, I hope so. I don't think we played that well at home, so hopefully it'll matter and get us playing a little bit better. But again, Eduardo, we're throwing in like every game. There's a whole new thing. Like, Golden State was really loud in that arena, even though there was no one there. The music and the extras that were going on there were loud. Then the next night you go to Portland, it was like no noise. They had nothing going. So there was a whole different, almost dead type of atmosphere. So we're throwing in a lot of situations, and you got to just adapt to them as quickly as you can and get to playing. That's all I can really comment on. And hopefully like I said, we'll play a little better here in Tampa.
And, the 4 games that you guys did play in Tampa with fans, it seemed like there were a lot of fans from the other team, obviously. I think the Boston game was nothing but green jerseys. I mean, like, how was that? I mean, when you guys go from the road and come back from a road trip like that, obviously you're used to seeing, the sellout crowd in Toronto, right? I mean, how different is that, a home game that isn't really a home game, even in numbers aside, just from what the crowd dynamic is?
I mean, it's not great, right? It's not great that you got a home game and you obviously can see the jerseys and hear the crowd cheering for the opponent, and you're supposed to be at home. I've been through it before. It used to happen to me when I played internationally in England. We'd play London. We'd play a team from Lithuania, and all the Lithuanians from London would come to the game. It'd be sold out. We'd be playing a major league road game, and it'd be wild, or a team from Greece or something like that. So I've been through it before. But again, no, not an excuse. No excuses from us. We just gotta worry about what's happening on the floor, and take care of business.
Thanks, Nick.
Yep.
Final question goes to Mike Ganter from the Toronto Sun.
Hey, Nick. How you doing?
I'm good, Mike. How are you?
Good. Wanted to ask you about with Chris. I mean, he made strides coming into the bubble, and then he made more strides this year. Where have you seen the jump just since the beginning of the training camp?
Well, I think it's, again, I always talk about this. It's opportunity, right? I think he's getting some longer runs, and it's kind of, I always say, you're going to get your shot at some point, and then it's kind of up to you to lengthen those runs and take advantage of those opportunities. And he's obviously played very well, which is why he started the second half the other day. I'm not at a 14-minute straight run off the bench in the first half, so he's virtually playing starter minutes off the bench. So again, it's kind of like, you get your chance, you make the most of it. That chance gets lengthened, and the way we usually like to do things with guys off the bench. But he's just opportunity, and getting more court time, gaining more experience, and with every rep up and down each end of the floor.
So there's no one area of his game where you've seen a real jump this year coming out of.
Well, I think he's doing a lot, Mike. Right? He's doing, what does he do? Well, he blocks shots. He's doing that at a pretty high level. He plays hard, runs hard, brings speed and energy. He's doing that. Obviously, he's shooting the ball well. He's finishing around the rim at a decent clip as well. So he's, all the kind of, I would say, skills that he has or things that he does, he's kind of doing all 4 or 5 of them pretty high level.